And we're live
We are live.
for
Welcome back,
episode
everybody.
5.
We are back for episode 5. Wow.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, 5. I lose track. I know it's only 5, but
I know, I feel like we say this every single time we start. We're like, oh my gosh, can't believe it's only episode.
yeah, it feels like we've been doing it for a while, but it's really just the 5th episode.
I know, right? Yeah, but
hmm
getting straight into things today, guys, we are going to be doing an episode dedicated to, well, solely dedicated pretty much to all of our long distance relationship couples out there. Because I feel like, yeah, we do receive a lot of messages
hmm
regarding, like, how do you guys deal with the distance? How do you manage? And really just asking questions about, like, how do you stay so positive
hmm
in a long distance relationship, especially in this season, being that we're in a pandemic and a lot of us aren't able to see one another. So, today, what are we going to be talking about, my love?
We are talking about the benefits of an LDR, long distance relationship.
I feel
Yeah,
like long distance relationships sometimes they have this kind of like negative connotation
I
behind them.
think
Like,
I think most of the time,
yeah,
like
actually, you're right.
because it's not the normal thing to do.
Yeah,
That's
it's
why
not that
it's not the
conventional.
most conventional, most average general thing everyone jumps into. So it
Yeah.
always for the people that don't know what it is or never gone through it, of course they're gonna raise an eyebrow or they're always gonna think like I could never do those type of things or I could never put myself in that position.
Yes. And that was definitely me. I raised my hand to that. I was definitely one of those people that, yeah, before I met Alan or before anything, I was always like, long distance relationships, no. Like, I personally could never be in one. I didn't really think like, oh, no way, like they suck, they're not real, they don't work. Like, yeah, they work, but for me personally, I always just felt like I don't see how I could be in one because I
Hmm.
just felt like it wasn't a possibility for me, like as an individual.
Hmm.
But then I met you, and that changed everything. So here we are, a few years deep
Yeah.
into our long distance relationship, and yeah, when we talk about benefits, it's definitely something that I had to learn. I really had to learn how to look at the positive side of things because I feel
Right.
like, exactly, I feel like in a long distance relationship, it's very easy to get pulled into those negative thoughts and to really relish in them and live them and just feel like, oh my gosh, this sucks. I miss my partner. Like, I wish I could see them. I wish I could be with
hmm
them. And then you're sitting there stuck, like wallowing in your own self pity. But
Right.
I feel like it really is all about shifting your mindset and your
Yep.
perspective to really look at the positives so that you can actually enjoy your
Mm.
relationship in the
Right.
present. Yeah. Because I feel like, of course, in a long distance relationship, a lot of us typically have a goal that we're working towards. I'll say personally, I don't think long distance relationships are ones that can work out if there's no end goal. If you
Right.
kind of get into it and it's like, yep, we're going to be in a long distance relationship. Of course, every couple's dynamic is different, but I just don't believe that if you meet someone and you decide to be long distance, you're going to be long distance for life. Like, I don't think
Right.
it can work that way.
Yeah, it's definitely not going to work that way.
Yeah, so I feel like there definitely has to be somewhat of an end goal. And in saying that, it's very easy to become too focused on that end goal. While it is important to focus on what you want to
hmm
achieve and the destination that you want to reach as a couple, I think if you stay too focused on that and you're too wishful and like hoping like, oh, I can't wait to get there, I want to be with them, I can't wait for it, that you kind of forget to live in the present and really enjoy your relationship for what it is now,
Right.
then that's where you find yourself kind of lingering in those negative thoughts and becoming distracted by what you don't have than rather what you do have.
Right. You look at the things half empty instead of half full.
Exactly, yeah. And that's definitely something that you taught me, love, is like how to be a little more positive in this situation. Because, like I said, I definitely was like, I don't know how I could do a long distance
Mm-hmm.
relationship. And I'll be the first to admit that I really did struggle with it in the beginning. But over time, I came to realize, like, you know what? This is like the present is all we have. Like, do I want to
Right.
spend all of this time that we're not together being sad about it? Like, no,
Mm-hmm.
that's not enjoyable. That's not fun. Like, that's not how I want to spend life. So it really is, as I've said previously, like all about switching your mindset and perspective. So I guess we're just kind of here to give you guys a few of our experiences on that and what we've
Mm-hmm.
learned in this journey and share our advice with you guys as well. So,
Before we get into it, and something that's like a
mm,
fun fact,
yeah.
people don't realize that your parents and my parents were both we were
Oh,
both
yes.
in long distance
Yeah,
relationships,
that's
which is really,
true.
really I don't know how to say it. Like, it's just interesting how both our parents were both in a long distance relationship.
Yeah, I don't know why I totally forgot about that. Here I am
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about how I don't think long distance relationship could work, but my parents are
And
a testament to that, and so are
exactly.
yours. It's funny because
Hmm.
when people first started to find out that I was in a long distance relationship, one of the many questions that I got was like, "Well, what do your parents think?" And I'm like, "Well, they would just like do whatever makes
Exactly.
you happy because to them they're like, we've been there. Like it's
Hmm.
your life, you do what you want, whatever you think is right for you, what's going to make you happy is what you have to do." So they were never like judgmental in that sense of like, "Oh, I don't think it's a right thing to do." Like, you don't want to get into that because it's like, who are they to judge it and try
Hmm.
and steer me away from it when they've done that themselves? So, yeah, it's pretty
My
interesting.
my parents were like, well, they were kind of biased. I was like, I told them that you were like, okay, well, she's half Filipino. She was like, oh, okay. And then I showed them your picture. I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh
Well,
my gosh.
you're good. Like, they didn't give me no opinion. Plus, I'm sorry to say it like this, but I'm a grown ass man. Like, it doesn't
Right,
matter, you
exactly.
know. But
Yeah.
they definitely went through it. They know what it feels like and how it is to have a long distance relationship. So they just knew that. Well, one thing that I know that they noticed, they're like, wow, he seemed very happy. Like, they just
Yeah.
noticed how happy I was, and
Mm.
they saw that, and they're like, oh wow, this, you know, she's making him really happy. I've never seen him like that. So
Oh.
yeah, I mean, as soon as they saw that, they're like, oh yeah, she's definitely right for him.
Oh.
So.
Yeah, I'm sure that's a topic that we could totally cover in another episode
Hmm.
in terms of like not necessarily acceptance, but because you really don't need anybody's acceptance to do what you want, especially when it comes to your relationship. But kind of just like navigating through that because,
Right.
yeah, I mean, for us, we're both grown, so it wasn't really something that we ever really had any issues with.
Hmm.
But yeah, fun fact, both of our parents are products of long distance relationships,
Yep.
and clearly they worked out because here we are today in our
Yep.
long distance relationship.
Exactly.
So wild. But yeah, do you want to get started with talking about the
Yeah.
benefits, babe?
I think the first one I could think of is how well we really got to know each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, and not to knock traditional relationships, but we were forced to like really got to know each other really well, like in depth. You know.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I feel like, of course, that occurs within a regular relationship,
Hmm.
but from my experience in this relationship personally, yeah, I've never let somebody get to know me as personally
Hmm.
and as deep as I have gotten, or let you get to know me. I hope that
Yeah.
made sense. Yeah, just everything. Because, of course, there's nothing else to do but talk. There's no
Hmm.
physical.
There's no
It's
physical, so
all verbal communication. It's like, what else can you do? Like, we'd be spitting out, like, fun facts here, here,
yeah.
there, and everywhere, like, talking about random things from our childhood,
Hmm.
our outlooks on life, our belief systems, our points and opinions on certain things, like everything. Like,
Everything,
yeah.
music,
Mhm.
fashion,
Mhm.
anything in the arts, anything
Mhm.
creative. We were really like really digging into all that stuff because we had no physical, you know. So it was good. And plus, then traditionally for me, I like to ask the right questions, and I want to see how a person ticks. So like I
Mm.
could tell from a person, and I could see their character from just me asking a couple of questions. And I mean, over the years before we even met, it took us like what, a year right? Like
Yeah.
a whole year to just was texting, calling, and we really got to know each other before we even physically met.
Yeah. And I definitely did appreciate that because I feel like
Hmm.
it really laid down the foundations for what were to become like us as a relationship. I feel like, as corny as it sounds, like Alan is my best friend. Like I can tell him
Hmm.
anything and everything without any judgment, any like ill opinions, nothing. Like I can wholeheartedly come to you with
Hmm.
anything and you're always there to listen to me. And yeah, I feel like us really getting to know each other on a deeper level prior to meeting
Hmm.
made that initial meeting a lot more like less awkward or
Right.
uncomfortable. Like it was
For
just
sure.
so natural. Yeah. So I know a lot of people have opinions about like, oh, I don't think people should start long distance relationships like first. Like they think they work if it's, for example, like we were already together and then we had to move away for work,
Mm,
school, whatever it may be.
right.
But I don't see anything wrong with, in our case, yes, we met online by
Hmm.
sheer chance and luck.
Yeah.
And
Or faith.
you're right.
I say faith for me.
Yeah. And it just happened that a relationship blossomed out of that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think the fact that we really took the time to get to know each other and all of our different aspects and dimensions of ourselves as individuals
Hmm.
really, really helped with the development of our relationship. Like when we finally came together. And
Right.
even to this day, like we're still getting to know things about each other. Like
Yeah.
every day we're always talking and we'll just like be like, oh, one time this happened, or one time I had this experience, or one time, like it's just always our conversations, they're very deep. And I'm a very mental person. If you can work my mind, like I love that. I love deep conversations. So the fact that that's what we get to experience in this relationship, it always keeps me like interested. Does that make
I
sense?
mean, it does. I mean, I literally was, I stood up to like 5 in the morning talking to you yesterday.
I know.
I look
Yeah.
like I didn't get enough sleep. So yeah, we just, we just had so much things to talk about, or we just, it's so easy to talk to you and open up to you. It's ever since the beginning.
Right, exactly. And it's so crazy because you know how you have regular relationships and you kind of fall into a rhythm and routine,
Hmm.
and not to say that you're sick of someone by like the 1 year mark, or like, but you kind of
Hmm.
become not sick of them, that's the wrong term to use. But you kind of become a little more settled and comfortable and you're just like, does that make sense?
They're
But
there. You get jaded that they're
jaded,
just there.
yes, yes.
Hmm.
But I feel like the fact that we're like however many years deep into this relationship
Hmm.
and we still get excited about staying up till like late hours. We
That
don't do this every night, by the way.
No, not every
But
night, but there's new things that I find out about her, and I'm like, oh, I didn't even know you were you were doing that, or just
right.
new things that I get excited about finding out who you are and what you're doing and how you tick. Like I was
Mm,
like, I got really excited. I'm like, wow, I didn't know you were doing that the whole
yeah.
time. Like the
But
first time you told me you played the violin, I was like, I had no clue.
yeah, I remember you were so confused. You're like, really?
Really?
Yeah, but I was just saying, like, it's just wild because, not to say that I preempted anything, but I just thought, like, oh, once we're settled in this, like, long distance relationship, we'll get comfortable and, we'll get used to, like, the time
Hmm.
difference, and there'll be no more, like, staying up to late hours of the morning, like, talking. But it's not like that at all. We're still constantly getting to
Hmm.
know each other every single day. And yeah, sometimes that does mean that we do stay up having like deep and meaningful conversations till the
Hmm.
early hours of the morning. But yeah, I think the number one benefit I would say is that you really do get to know the other person, provided that you both are on the same page and you're wanting to get
Right.
to know each other, of course.
Hmm.
But yeah, you really get to know the other person. And also, I feel like another benefit is in that sense is that you get to find out very quickly whether the other person's intentions are genuine and whether it
Right.
is something that they really want, because can't nobody force you
You can't.
to want to call the other person and be on the phone for a few hours a day, or to text them when you miss
Right.
them. So yeah, like I knew very early on that you were genuine and that your intentions were pure and this is actually what you wanted, because I wasn't forcing you to text me back or call me
No.
back when you could or whatever, whatever. Like, that's what you did on your own accord. You know what they say, that saying that's like, people don't tell you what they want to do, they show you, or like
Mm-hmm.
actions speak louder than words, or if he wanted to, he
Mm-hmm.
would. Like, all
Right.
those things aligned, and I definitely saw from Alan, like, okay, he's genuine, he's putting in the effort. I'm not having to beg him for his time and attention. Like, this
No.
is genuinely what he wants to do, and he's
I
showing me
mean,
that.
we have about a 14 to 15 hour difference. So like
Yeah.
no one twist up each other's arms to say, stay up. If you really wanted to, you would do it.
Yeah.
And we really took the time and nurtured our relationship since the beginning to really get to know each other.
Mm.
So again, no one could force you to stay up. No one could force you to text each other or like wake each other up, and just all that stuff is not forced. You're gonna want to do it yourself. If you don't want to do it, you're not gonna do it.
Yeah, exactly. And
Hmm.
especially if it's over a prolonged period of time, like nobody's going to force anybody to do that over the span of a year, like as we
Right.
were getting to know each other, you know what I mean?
Right.
So, yeah, I know sometimes you might be met with judgments from outsiders looking in, but as long as you personally can see the clear intentions of the other person, then it
Hmm.
really is very reassuring to know, like, okay, so they are being straight up and they're showing me what they want and that this is what they want. So I feel like that's very comforting and reassuring as well.
Hmm.
So yeah, being able to really get to know the other person on a deeper level, I feel like is a great benefit to being in a long distance
Hmm.
relationship. And obviously that's definitely achievable in a regular relationship as
For
well.
sure.
Yeah, that's not to say like, oh, long distance relationships are better because you get to know the other person, you can't do nothing but
Hmm.
talk. But I'm just saying, when there is no other choice but to do
Yeah, there's
that,
no physical at all. Yeah.
yeah, it is beneficial. So, yeah, talking about the physical aspect, of course,
Mm.
that's great as well. We love the physical, but it's not possible in a long distance relationship
Right.
naturally. But I feel like, in some sense, again, that kind of comes into play with being able to judge whether the other person's intentions are true and pure.
Right.
And it also, I think, without having that physical aspect, it also provides less confusion over love versus lust, right?
For sure. You definitely get to find out if that person loves you or just there for the physical, right? For the lust.
Right. But of course, naturally, like, it's important to be like
Hmm.
physically and sexually attracted to your partner. No doubt. That's important in a relationship. I do
Yep.
believe that. But I feel like, not to pass judgments, but a lot of the time, like statistically speaking, this does occur a lot.
Hmm.
You'll have two good-looking people who are in the same place at the same time. They're attracted to each other. They get into a relationship, and they're all sweet, but then they find out later on that they don't really know each other that well. They
Right.
didn't
They don't
really
have
get to
nothing
know
in
each other
common.
properly. Exactly,
Right.
yeah.
They don't have nothing in common. They start, things, they see things definitely not eye to eye, and their beliefs are different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they were there just for the physical because a lot of people, that's all you do in the beginning is look at someone and really don't know them yet. So you're attracted to them physically, but getting to know them deeply in a deeper level is something that you don't do in the beginning. If you're there in person.
But you know what I was just thinking of is, like, it's so crazy because in our situation, I didn't really know what you looked like in the
Yeah,
beginning.
you didn't. I
Yeah.
saw I saw how you were looking right now. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I didn't know. In the beginning, it was very organic, though. It wasn't like I was trying to hit
No,
on you or
it
anything like that.
wasn't. Yeah.
And we just was going back and forth on a friendship level,
Mm-hmm.
and from there, it kind of just blossomed and developed. And that's when I'm like, you know what? Well, for me, obviously, I saw your channel, so I knew how you look like. There's no catfish there for me.
Yeah.
In my hand, in my side, like I could have been like another person.
I know, and that's the thing is, like, when, if you guys don't know the story in the beginning, like once Alan and I had like, kind of established that we were catching feelings for each other and we'd been texting and like having phone calls and whatnot, I wanted to move to the next step in our relationship and
Hmm.
FaceTime. Like, I wanted us to FaceTime, but he was hesitant.
Yeah, it
And
was.
yeah, the reason why is because he wanted our first initial, like, face to face interaction to be face to face when we met each other for the first
Hmm.
time. But I was like, hold on, like I'm trying to find out if you're really like the person who
Right.
I'm talking to, because I've seen Catfish, MTV's Catfish. Like they always say that as another one tip. Like if the person you're talking to doesn't want to
Doesn't want to
FaceTime, like
FaceTime.
something's like shady about that. So
Something's
I
up.
was like, like I don't know.
Right.
Like that's the one last missing piece of the puzzle. Like I need to find that out to make sure that this is genuine. Of course we did FaceTime, but yeah, I feel like it was different for us because I didn't really know like what your mannerisms were, what your like
Hmm.
expressions were, like how you I don't know, it's hard to describe. Like it's different. This was a whole entirely new experience for me, like getting to know
Hmm.
somebody in this way. So yeah, it's kind of like I didn't have that sense of like
Hmm.
knowing like what you look like and the way you act. Like I wasn't influenced by that.
There's
Does
no
that make
sight,
sense?
there's no smell, there's no touch. Those three
Yes.
senses, and here you can only hear me, and
Yes.
you know,
Yeah,
and through my
exactly.
text.
Yeah, so there were a couple of aspects missing that I wasn't able to be influenced by. I wasn't able to be influenced
Mm,
by physical interaction or what I could see. I
right.
don't know, like the way that your mannerisms are, the way that you dress, like none of that was like things that I could judge you upon to be like,
Hmm.
oh damn, like yep, he's the one, like that's the one. Like all I could go with was who you were through
Hmm.
what we spoke about, and I feel like that was like a really beautiful thing to be able to experience,
For
like
sure.
getting to know someone purely like for their heart and soul, like for who they are on the inside, as
Hmm.
corny as that sounds. Like it was probably the best thing that could have happened
Yeah.
for this relationship because yeah, for me personally, I'd always said that if I were to ever get into a relationship again, that's it. Like I'm not here to like date around anymore or be like, "Oh, I want to see like what happens with this person." I was like, if I find someone, it has to be a pretty good reason for me to like want to settle down with
Hmm.
them. So, yeah, I feel like it really laid the foundations for our relationship. So we built the base of having a really really good solid friendship first.
Yeah, for
Mm,
sure. I
yeah.
definitely found, like you said, I found a best friend
Aw,
halfway around the world. It's
yes.
insane how it happened, and I'm glad it happened that way. But it really is. I mean, now I could just, I feel more myself with her. So like with Lizelle. So like I definitely could just be open up and tell her how I feel. I don't need to like hide anything from her.
I feel the same. Like I said earlier, I've always felt like I can come to you without any judgments or
Hmm.
feeling like embarrassed about anything. Like I can literally tell you anything and you're always there to listen. So, yeah,
Hmm.
I feel like that's definitely been a benefit for us in our long distance relationship is like getting to know each other. And as much as we don't have the physical, that's actually kind of benefited us in some way because
Right.
there's no confusion there as to like, okay, so what's really the motive here? Like,
Hmm.
obviously, yeah, like I said earlier, it's important to be attracted to your partner, and we are attracted to one another, but it goes deeper than that. And at least we know
Right.
that in this situation. So, another benefit, which this is going to sound really redundant because everybody always says like not relationships, sorry, communication is key in
Hmm.
relationships, and I feel like being in a long distance relationship really developed our communication
For
skills.
sure.
Mm.
Like for me, that whole phrase is very cliche to say like, oh, communication is
It is,
key
yeah, you
to
hear
every
it.
relationship. You hear it all the time,
Mm.
and I think experiencing it on the long distance relationship level
Mm.
is even more for me. Like just learning how to communicate, it helped us a lot to really get to know each other
Mm-hmm.
and to know how each other feel, and pretty much how we like the stuff that you want to do, what I want to do, our goals. We really, it really helped us open up to each other too.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, it definitely provides a more deeper aspect to the relationship because yeah, of course everybody communicates in their relationship, but say for
Mm-hmm.
example, when we have disagreements, we're not able to just like hug and kiss each other
True.
out or be physical with one another or whatever it may be, and then all is forgotten. It's like we're really
Mm.
forced to talk to each other and like
Right.
really get to the root of our issues and figure out things because that's all we can do. Like, there's no like,
Yeah.
just leave it, you go to the other room or you go out of the house and cool
Mm-hmm.
down and we'll come back later. It's like, no, like, we have no choice but to sort things out. So I feel like, yeah, it really allowed us to communicate better and to learn how to communicate better. And even in the sense of like, if something was bothering me or if I even liked something that you did, I feel completely confident to be able to come to you and let you know
Mm-hmm.
that without any judgments or anything like that because I know that I'm able to do that with you because we
For
have such
sure.
great communication.
And I'd say language. I've always told you this, that language is very clumsy, and I'll be the first one to admit like I'm not the best communicator. I like throughout this process, I've learned so much about you, about us, about myself on how to communicate better. Like
Mm.
it's just so much more, because I definitely am not perfect. So learning this process of communication is going to help. Like I feel like it's the benefit is because if we're this much apart now and we communicate this way, just imagine how is it going to be when we're together.
Yes, yeah, that's exactly right. I always think about that too. Like if we're able to communicate so well with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't, when I say communicate, I don't mean like just talking to each other, like, how's your day? Like, how's it going?
Right.
Like, I mean, as in like the deeper aspects of like talking about issues or resolving things or even
Mm-hmm.
talking about like what you want more of or what you want less of or what you like or what you don't
Right.
like everything. Because we have no choice, we've really been forced to do that is like talk
Mm-hmm.
about how we feel and really communicate that to one another. Whereas, like, personally, through past experiences, yes, it might not have necessarily been something that I would bring up because it's just
Mm-hmm.
easier to leave things sometimes. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Right. Right.
if you didn't like something, like, okay, cool, or like, it just, you don't want to start anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like in this relationship, though, because we set that tone of wanting to be so open with each other with what like we like and what we don't like, and
Mm-hmm.
it's really like benefited us in that sense of learning how to communicate our feelings to one another a lot
For
better.
sure.
So another benefit for me personally, something that I learnt was to have more patience
Yeah.
because yeah, I definitely was the impatient one in the beginning. Just because, like I said, first of all, I started off thinking, like, I don't see how long distance relationships could work. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I even had that idea in my head before I met you. So imagine like getting into this and being like, damn, like I'm really in this. Like how am I
Right.
gonna ride this out and hold it down till like we get to be together or even between trips, like when
Mm-hmm.
we get to see each other again. So it was definitely something that I struggled with because naturally for me as a person with who I am, I'm the type of person like if I want something, if I want to get something, if I want to achieve something, I'll just go get it. Like nothing's
Mm-hmm.
going to stop me. Once I have my mind set on something, that's it. Like I'm locked and loaded and I'm on my way to get it. But in this situation, it's like I was really humbled and had to check myself and be
Very
like,
humble.
yeah, you're going to have to wait a second, girl. Like you can't just go do
Mm-hmm.
what you want in this situation. You got to be patient. So I definitely struggled with that, but I feel like it really changed my mindset and perspective to, again, like I said in the beginning, learn how to look at things in a more positive light
Yeah.
and to really enjoy things for what they are in the present moment, in the now. And yeah, I mean, for you, you've always just been a very patient person.
Yeah. my patient, I had like a really, like everyone told me that growing up,
Mm.
and knowing, like for me, when I got to know you, I knew what I wanted,
Mm-hmm.
especially getting to know you even more, your character, your goals, everything that I was like, wow, I can't believe I found someone halfway around the world that is in the same path I want to be in and want
Mm.
to be with me too, on top of that. Right.
Yeah.
So I knew, like, I've always told you this too. It's like, yeah, our long distance relationship only could last for a couple years, but we're going to be living for a whole lifetime. So it's not a, like, we might sacrifice those couple years to not seeing each other,
Yeah.
but in the grand scheme of things, if you take a step back and look at our whole life, we're going to be together for the rest of our lives, and this is just a small little portion, a little small chapter of our lives that we're apart, and
Yeah,
we
that's
have to
exactly
enjoy the
right.
process.
Yes, exactly. And that's definitely something that I had to learn is that,
Hmm.
well, yes, in that present moment, like say a year, or maybe more than a year ago, when I was like really struggling
I'd say
with
2018. I
2018.
know I know the year.
Yes. Yeah.
This is before we met, and I
Yeah.
know we were like, we got to know each other. We were like, we definitely like really want to meet,
Yeah.
and I remember you were being very impatient.
I was, yeah.
Yeah,
Because
you struggled.
I did struggle.
Hmm.
And even after we met,
Yeah,
like
I
after
was
that
just gonna
first
say.
trip, I was like, oh, that's it. Like he's gonna ghost me. I'm never gonna see him again. Bye. See you never.
You said that in the beginning. You're like, oh, this is that one trip, and then after that, I'm never gonna see this guy again.
I know. I remember
Remember?
after we when we were in Bali together, I was like, so am I gonna see you after this?
Exactly. Honestly, if you didn't plan that out the next trip, I probably would have left it. I'm like, I don't know. My intentions is obviously to see you,
Oh my
but
gosh.
it was my for me having that much patience. I knew, like, okay, well, the next trip is in 4 or 5 months. Then I had like so much more to look forward to because we had a lot of fun in Bali. So
We
I
did,
was like, I
yeah.
want that again, and I want to get to know you even more. So it was, for me. I had that patience because I knew it was gonna. We made this happen. I went all the way to Bali, flew 15, 16 hours away. So I was like, you know what? Yeah, I already liked her before I even met her. Imagine, like, and then we had an amazing time in Bali. So I always, knowing that there's like the next trip, I was already like, I had my patience was there the whole time.
Yeah, I think with the whole patience thing, that comes down to me being a planner. So in
Mm,
this relationship, I'm definitely the planner, right?
you are
Like I am really good at organizing things, planning things, and then executing them. So when
right.
it comes to when I'm thrown into a situation where it's like, okay, yes, you can organize it, you can plan it, you just can't execute it yet. Oh my gosh, that was like
Mm,
something that I had to get used to. Like, okay, we're just gonna sit with this plan for a while. Like we know that we're kind of working through it, but we can't completely execute it yet. Yeah, it was definitely something that I had to come to terms with. But over our period of time together, what I love about you is like what you've taught me in terms of, yeah, really learning how to become more positive in certain situations and look at things as glass half full, not half empty. And
hmm.
rather than like sitting there and being like upset and having self pity about like, oh my gosh, this is so difficult, this is so hard. Like, yeah, that's very easy to do, but it's not fun to do that. And like, I
Definitely
don't
not.
want to spend my time or even our relationship being like that because it's like, hello, if we're spending more time apart than we are together, how great of quality is our relationship going to be if it's
Hmm.
just going to be spent being sad and down and
Right.
upset about being apart? It's like this is what we signed up for. This is what our relationship is.
Yep.
So, yeah, in terms of being patient, that's actually a quality that I really love that I have come to acquire is just
Hmm.
learning to let go of things and an outcome and just know, like, release it and just know that it's going to happen and to just live in the moment and enjoy the moment
Hmm.
and just be patient. Like, you're going to get there eventually,
Yeah.
but you just got to chill and be happy with what you have right now
Hmm.
because it's all coming to you. So I feel like, yeah, having more patience, learning to have more patience is definitely one of the great aspects that I have gained from being in this relationship,
For
but it's
sure.
definitely a benefit. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when we left Bali.
Mm.
I mean, the other day you gave me the countdown of like how many days we've been apart. Remember?
Yes, I texted you a number. It was like 416 or something.
416.
Yeah.
416. And I was like, what's this number? And you're like, oh, that's like how many days we've been apart. I'm like, damn, it's been that long.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time we met in Bali and we planned the next trip.
Mm.
You had a calendar, you had a countdown like app. And every day you would tell me I remember when it was like 100 days, 99 days.
I know.
And
Ridiculous.
it was torture to you. I
Mm.
remember.
It was. Yeah, I would not recommend having a countdown. I mean, here and there, I will just go and Google, like, oh, how many days since this day, just because I
Hmm.
was curious. I know it had been over a year since we last saw each other, but I was like, I wonder how long exactly it's been. Because to be honest, it's so crazy, but the year that we've spent apart since the pandemic popped off
Hmm.
has been has felt like far less time and been a lot
For
more
sure.
bearable than say the few months in
Those
between the first year when we.
those 4 or 5 months that we were
Yes,
apart.
isn't it crazy?
Hmm.
Like I
Yeah,
really struggled with those, but now I'm just like I'm cool with it. Like this is fun. I'm just chilling. Like it's
right.
crazy.
Yeah, you definitely gained a lot of patience over time.
Mm.
You ever put yourself in like remember you're being in class and you're looking at the time and you're like, okay, well, it'll take 10 more minutes and the class is done.
Oh yeah, like you're
And
counting
then
down because you're so
and
focused on
you're
counting
focused on
down.
trying to and plus
Yeah.
trying to leave that place where you're
Yes.
like when you look back up it was like damn it's only been a minute. That's how it
Yes.
felt like when you were counting down the
I
days on when we
know.
were going to see each other.
Yeah. Yeah. So to all our LDR couples, don't do countdowns. Just live in the now.
Yeah, living in now
Yeah.
is very
So
important.
for sure, yeah. So patience is definitely one benefit. I know a lot of people might not be able to see that, but it's definitely a very good personality trait
Hmm.
to learn and acquire and to have because it definitely will benefit you in multiple situations that you have to
Right.
come to experience in life.
Another thing I thought about with patience is what I've always spoke about and told you before too. It's like sometimes you can't like there's certain things that we can control and there's certain things that we can't control.
Yeah.
So like focus on the things that you can control. Like when
Yes.
we're apart, we were able to save, do the
Mm.
things that we said we were going to do before we meet.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the things that I've always told you, like let's do this and let's work out, let's do this, and let's do things together. Those are the things that we can control. What we can't control is the weather, the distance.
Yeah.
Those are the things we can't control, and we can't cry about those things. Like you
Yeah.
said, you can't just
Exactly.
sit there and feel bad the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
But we can enjoy our time now, right?
Yeah, definitely for sure. And that's another benefit I feel is
Hmm.
that as much as being apart from each other is difficult, it really allows us to appreciate the time that we do get to spend
Right.
together. Even if it's like when we are physically together, when we do reunite and
Hmm.
we get to be together, but even times like this where we're FaceTiming or on the phone, like I genuinely am grateful for that. And I'll even let you know, like, hey, babe, like, thank you for spending that time with
Yeah.
me on the phone earlier today. Because it's just like, it really puts things into perspective. And
Hmm.
I genuinely look forward to our our times that we spend together, whether it's on the phone, on FaceTime. As much as it is a part of our routine, it's definitely a rhythm and routine in our relationship.
Hmm.
I genuinely look forward to that
Yeah.
time that I get to spend with you, like date nights, whatever it is. So,
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
my love language is quality time.
Yes.
So for me, it's like, yeah, any minute I get with her, like we don't have the luxury of being there physically.
Hmm.
So we're fortunate that we're able to like spend a lot of time on the phone.
Yeah.
And to me, that means so much more to me because, I always tell you, if you're here, you would be doing this anyway. So you'd go to the grocery store with me, you'd, do everything with me. So we have that luxury of being on the phone so much that I appreciate those times that you are here, doing like quality time.
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, I feel like not to say that if we were in a regular relationship and living together that we wouldn't appreciate our time together. I'm sure we
Right.
would. But sometimes when you get into that routine of the way that you operate as a relationship and the dynamic of it, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes the times that you spend together don't necessarily feel special, or you get into a routine where you don't put as much effort
Mm.
in.
Right.
And that's only natural, of course. Not everything's going to be like romantic and amazing and this
Right.
like wild experience all the time. But when it comes down to the little things in this relationship, I feel like I have a very big appreciation for them because I'm
Mm-hmm.
just so grateful for what we do have them rather than what we don't have.
Right.
So
I
yeah, I
agree.
feel like being long distance allows you to really appreciate the time that you get to spend together. That's another benefit I feel. So another big benefit for me, and I've spoken to you about this a few
Mm-hmm.
times, in terms of being long distance, I think it allows you to be independent and self sufficient. For me, like who I am as a person, I've always been very independent, self sufficient. I do enjoy my own company. Like I have no issues with spending time on my
Mm-hmm.
own, and I'm cool with that. So I feel like in this relationship I get the best of both worlds. While I would love to be together already, of course, there's nothing more I
Right.
want than that. But I feel like if I'm looking at the benefits of what this current situation is, yeah, I am thankful for the fact that I get to be in an incredible, amazing, loving relationship with you, but at the same time I still do get to do my own thing. Like I still
Right.
do get to have my independence. Not to say that I wouldn't have that if we were together, and
Mm-hmm.
not to say that I wouldn't be self-sufficient if we were together, but I mean as in like, yeah, you're kind of really forced to do that in this situation because at the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day, as much as we're on the phone together, FaceTiming, talking, whatnot, at the end of the day I go to bed by myself. And
Right.
it's like you have to know that you're okay on your own. And I feel like, yeah, being in this relationship, that's definitely been a benefit for me personally because I've opened up to you about this before and we've spoken
Right.
about this, how I feel like it's very important for, I mean, this might not apply to everyone, but my viewpoint is that I think it's important for females to have that period
Mm-hmm.
of time in their life where they experience being on their own and being independent.
Right.
Because I'm not saying everybody's like this, but a lot of the time what happens is, you find a partner, you move in together, you're playing the role of wifey and you're not even like wifed up, like, and then
Right.
before you know it, you're like, damn, I didn't really get to do my own thing and experience
Mm-hmm.
like what I want to do. And I feel like, yeah, even before I met you, I was going through that transition and that period of like, okay, I really want to find myself. I really want to
Right.
learn who I am as a woman. I want to grow and evolve as a woman
Mm-hmm.
and learn to become the best version of myself. And I really wanted to embark on that journey of like personal growth and self development. And I feel like as much as I could do that if I was in a relationship with you in person, of
Mm-hmm.
course, but being long distance and that at the end of the day, I'm really all I got. Like I got to rely on myself. I know I have to know
Right.
that I have myself. That's something that's very important because yeah, I feel like it is important for women to experience that period of time where they're independent and they've got their own thing going on and they're not
Yep.
living to provide or cater to a man or
For
have
sure.
everything focused on them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's I'd say this in the beginning, like that's what attracted me to you. You're being Miss Independent, like the Neo song. Really, like that's something that attracted me to Lizelle so much is that I was like, wow, she has her own place. She paid for her own car. She paid for her own teeth. She paid for her own braces, and she can take care of herself. That's like an attractive characteristic of a person. Like no, she could hold her own. And on top of obviously, creative and being really pretty. So like a lot of
Oh,
times a lot of people don't get to experience that because they're so reliant on like being with a partner to handle the bills and other things that they don't really get to find themselves. And that's something that I guess we lucked out where I also went through being single and living alone and knowing what I want and who I want to be
mm-hmm.
and sorting through all that stuff helped me out so that when I finally, like you said, it's like self-love,
Yeah.
right? Like you
Hmm.
gotta love yourself in order for you to give love. And
For
for
sure.
me, I really got to know myself as well. And
Mm.
now it's like, okay, well, if I know myself and I'm sure now, and I'm still learning, but now I could at least give the love that you deserve.
Yeah, I feel like that's really important. And it's
Yeah.
important to have that period of time in your life where you experience that. Because, like, even yesterday I was vlogging, right? And
Hmm.
I had mentioned in the vlog that I was going to take myself out on a ramen date. And of course, if
Yeah.
you were here, I would go out on a date with you and we'd go have
Right.
ramen for lunch. But I had mentioned that, even if I'm in a relationship, it's still important to give as much love to yourself as what
Hmm.
you're giving to your partner. Because self love is needed in order for you to fill up everybody else's cups and give them the love
Hmm.
that they require or need. So, yeah, I feel like, of course, like when I was single, yeah, I was doing that, but being long distance really allowed me to still continue on that journey of self growth and personal development to becoming the best version of myself that I wanted to be, to becoming the woman that
Right.
I wanted to be. And yeah, I think it's very important for women to
For
experience
sure.
that journey of like knowing that you don't need to constantly be catering to someone or to know that you have your own back. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. Another thing that I think of a benefit of on being independent is really finding your passion and your hobbies. Like for
Yes.
me, like for us, we concentrate on what you were already doing since I met you. You're doing your channel,
Hmm.
and for me, I was concentrating on my career in the
Hmm.
fashion industry or design.
Yeah.
So like, we really we have separate lives that way where we're still going towards like getting better on our own industries,
Yes.
but we
Yeah.
get to help each other as well. Like whenever
Yeah.
you needed help on something, I'll help you out. Whenever I need organization skills, I go to you. So it really helps us out to know like to really do what we want to do independently. And
Yeah.
then when we need each other's help, we're there.
Yeah, and I think that's really important because that's not to say that, oh, when you get in a relationship, you can't focus on your own thing. Because, yes, of course, you can have your own thing going. But
Hmm.
yeah, I think it is very important to have your own thing going. So then you're not like, when you get into a relationship, you're constantly focused on what your partner's doing. Or, does that
Right.
make sense? Like, you just want to
Yeah.
have your own lane to stay in and focus on, and they can come in and ride with you and like see what's
Hmm.
up when they want, but it's not something where if I had nothing going for myself and I'm
Hmm.
just like constantly on you with like what you're doing. And does that make sense? Like you just want
Yeah.
to have your own thing going. And I feel like, yeah, as much as I would have continued on that if we were together, if we had met in person and you
Hmm.
were here or whatever, being long distance allowed me to still continue on with that journey of self discovery and really getting to know what I want and who I want to
Right.
be and what I want to become. And I think that's another great thing as well, is that at the end of the day, because I have had that period of time as a woman where I've experienced being independent. Sorry, oh, nearly just lost my words there. But because I've had that period of time where I have experienced being independent, self-sufficient, having my own thing going, at least you know that I've lived that portion of my life.
Right.
And when we're together, I'm ready to settle down with you. And I'm not going to wake up one day and be like, I love you, but I need to go figure some things out and be on this
Exactly.
journey of self discovery. Because that's totally fine. People do that. That's
That
normal.
happens.
It
Yeah.
does happen, yes, and that's life. That's completely okay. But at least rest assured, you know that that's my truth that I've already lived through. Like I've already
Hmm.
experienced that, and when we come together, I'm ready for that chapter and that next season of my life,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's a benefit, is just being
Yeah.
able to be self-sufficient, independent, and knowing that I'm in this relationship because I choose to, not
Right.
because it's it's easy or it's comfortable or it's convenient. It's
Mm-hmm.
because it definitely ain't those things.
It
It's not
definitely isn't
easy.
convenient. You know, I wish it was more convenient.
Right.
I wish
Yeah.
you were like 4, 5 hours away. I'd
I
still
know.
go
Tell
at least
me
drive
about
to
it.
you.
Yeah.
We talk about it all the time.
We
I'm like,
do.
man, if you were like 5, 6 hours away, I could just fly to you. I'd see you every month. Yeah, every month we would see each other. The convenience was
Exactly.
there,
Yeah.
but it's definitely a choice. That's like, you know, one of the benefits is really, you know, in this relationship is it's your choice. Like you have, no one's twisting your arm, you know, to like
Yeah.
do
Can't
something.
nobody force you to
No,
do this. And I think, yeah, like I said, that's great for you to know that your partner is choosing this and that's what she wants. But it's
right,
also good for me as well to reassure myself, like
for
to really
sure.
evaluate and be like, yes, this is what I want. There's no if, doubts, buts, or maybes or whatever. It's just like, this is what I'm choosing. This is genuinely
Yeah,
what I choose because I think something that I've heard from other people in the past when it comes to finding out I'm in a long distance relationship is one of the first things I always get told is like, why'd you have to find someone so far away? Couldn't you find someone
right,
here? It's like, hell yeah, I could have, but like, I didn't because I don't want that. Like, I choose this man. This is the man that I choose. Doesn't matter if he's halfway across the world. Like, what's that to stop
right.
people from, do you know what I mean? So
Hmm.
it's like, I'm not here, at least you know I'm not here to settle.
Right.
And I know that I'm not settling. Like, this is not something that I'm just like, oh, this is easy. I'll just go with this. Like, he's nice. This is comfortable. This is good.
Hmm.
Like, at least this is, and I know this is genuinely something that I've gone with conviction. Like, this is actually
Right.
what I
This
want.
is what you chose to do.
Yeah,
You know.
exactly.
So one thing that I know is a benefit that I've always voiced with you is, you know, I've always said, hey, you know what, this is something that there's so much more to look forward to in a long distance relationship.
Yeah,
You know, we go back to what I said earlier. This is just like one chapter, you know,
it
and it's just the
is. Yeah.
beginning. The first chapter is just being in and enjoying this process of being
Hmm.
apart.
Yeah.
And for me, I've always said, "Hey, I can't wait till like you experience this. I can't wait." I mean, if you watch our old your vlogs and our
Hmm.
vlogs in our channel, you know, you see the first time you had a bagel, you know, or you've been to the U.S. and my first time being in Australia,
Hmm.
you know. So like we get to document these things, and for me, the more we plan things, the more I get excited. So that's why
Yes.
it's like I can't wait till we do that because you know I
Mm.
can't wait till you come here and you see snow. Like you haven't experienced that yet, and I'm
Mm.
so excited. For me, like I grew up in the Philippines, and I'm like, man, I love the sun, and I only like to be in the snow if it's like something fun. Like if I go
Yeah.
to a mountain and ski and all that stuff. So for me, I can't wait till she comes here and experience the snow or
Mm.
experience new things that we haven't done yet. Like it's because
Mm.
we've been in literally just in the beginning of our relationship.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like I feel like yeah, the great thing about being LDR is you always have something to look forward to.
For sure.
But another thing that I really love about it is planning.
Mm.
I just love planning
Oh
as a
man,
person as
you
a
should see her spreadsheet. You know?
stop. For real though, I love planning and it gets me really excited for the future and things we want to experience. So
Yeah.
while I did say earlier that it's important to focus on the now, I think it is important, like as a partnership, to plan things, to have things to look forward to together. Like Alan and I sit down and we do like our 5 year plan, our yearly
Yeah.
plan, our yearly goals, even things that we want to achieve like within the next month or two. We're
Right.
constantly planning, and I
I
love that
mean,
we do that
we have
together.
we have daily plans, we have weekly
We
plans.
do.
We set a plan for the week
We
because
do.
we know that you're going to be busy doing your thing and
Hmm.
I have my thing going. So we have to plan things so that we can do things together too. So it's really important. And then, like you said, now I look forward to like, oh, okay, so this is the next podcast. This is our next thing that we're
Date
going to
night.
do. Right.
Mm.
And again, I'm gonna sound like a broken record. It's literally people don't plan to fail; they fail to plan,
Yeah, that's it.
right? And a
Mm.
lot of people really don't get to enjoy that process because they walk every day aimlessly. Like they don't have a target. They literally just walk around and like they do the mundane thing. Like I go to work and in the weekends I go drink and party, but there's really no goal, right? So
Yeah.
for us, since we plan so much and we've written down like a year goal, 5 year goal, 10 year goal, now we have so much more to look forward to.
Yeah.
Being apart, we can set each other up to where, okay, well, since we're apart, we can do this, this, and this, so that when we get together, this is what we can do, right?
Yeah. And I think it's really great as well because it gives you a target to aspire towards. Like
Right.
you plan and then you execute. And I
Mm-hmm.
feel like that's definitely brought us closer together, and at least we know that we're on the same path and our thought processes and our
Mm-hmm.
and like our like what we want is aligned.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, having something to look forward to actually helps our relationship. Like it benefits the quality of the
Mm-hmm.
relationship, and I love that. I mean, I love planning, so
No, it definitely helps. I mean, again, for me, I just look at what I get excited about what we're going to do.
mm,
Even if something that we have already done, I want to do it again. I
mm,
want to, like you going to New York for the first week, everything was like a rush. But you know
it
how many
was,
more
yeah.
spots that we haven't hit up and like
Mm,
go see? We
yeah.
haven't seen the Statue of Liberty, the Flatiron,
Mm,
whole bunch of restaurants, a whole bunch of food, whole bunch of shopping, whole
mm-hmm,
bunch of like historic stuff.
mm-hmm.
And this is just New York. So imagine DC, LA. There's so much more. Like for me to go to Sydney,
Yeah, I was gonna
Melbourne,
say, even over
there's a
here, there's
lot.
still so
Hmm.
much more for you to see and for me to
Yeah,
take you to.
you told me I haven't even gone to Steve Irwin's zoo.
Australia Zoo, yeah,
Yeah,
I can't believe I forgot to take you
we
there. What
went
the
to the
heck?
other zoo.
Yeah, but yeah, there's just so much more to look forward to. And like you said earlier, this is just one chapter of
Yeah.
the whole book of what is our life together. And I
Hmm.
think for people who are struggling in their long distance relationship and feeling like they're stuck in the chapter, I think you kind of summarized it for me at one point early on when I was struggling, and you had said to me, like, hey, this is just a few years of sacrifice for a lifetime for the rest of the years that we get to spend together. And you had even said to me, like, I'm willing to give up this short few years
Hmm.
to have the rest of my life with you. Like, I don't care. I'm willing to do that. And I
Right.
was like, you know what? Yeah, it is. It's just a few years, and while it is unconventional and it might not be exactly like what you want,
Hmm.
when you look at the grand scheme and the bigger picture of things, it's like it's gonna fly by, and I can't wait to be able to just be chilling on the couch together on a
Right.
Sunday evening and be like,
On a
remember when we
Tuesday,
used to do this? Yeah, like
a
remember when we used to
random
do this
like,
stuff? Yeah, we
can you
always
go?
talk about that.
I always say go to the other room and make it feel like we are still in long distance,
Yeah,
and text each other
FaceTime
from the
me
other
from the
room.
other room.
But yeah,
Yeah.
we're gonna get to that point where we're gonna look back, and I always told you like we're gonna look back one of these days and say, hey, remember when we were just texting? We didn't even talk.
I
Remember when we
know.
first started talking?
Yeah.
Remember when you didn't want to FaceTime? So all those things we're gonna remember, and it's. I always say too, it's all temporary. It's like
Mm.
that's just temporary. We're gonna be together for the long haul, so we have to enjoy it now.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So, yeah, I think as much as it can be difficult for some people,
Hmm.
yeah, having something to look forward to, I think is a benefit because
For
it
sure.
keeps that faith and hope there to know
Yeah.
that you can keep going because you're not done yet. Do you know what I
Right.
mean? Yeah.
And that's why, and this is even how we came up with the podcast name, because we would always say,
Yes,
one day,
exactly. Mm-hmm.
one day, one day, one day, one day we're going
Mm,
to do this, one day we're going to do that. And it kind of just stuck, like we said
mm,
it so much that that really meant a lot to me. Like saying
yeah,
one day we're going to do that. And again, we made it happen. We didn't know we were going to go meet, and I would go to Australia, you would come here, I would go
I
over there
know.
again,
Crazy.
and we made it happen.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, and I think it also provides some comfort, like another benefit, probably our last benefit that we'll talk about today, is that you really get to know that if you and your partner can get through this, then you can potentially get through anything that
For sure.
life throws at you, whatever hurdles you may have to overcome as a partnership. Because yeah, I always said to you from the very beginning, like if we can navigate and get through this successfully, then like this is probably the most difficult thing that we'd have to
Hmm.
experience as a partnership. And the fact that we are getting through it really well, I think really is a testament to the fact that yeah, long distance relationships can work and they can work
Hmm.
successfully. It's not always about being down and sad and like depressed and like upset. Like, don't get me wrong, I personally do have my days where I really miss you so much.
Yeah, I get those days too. You know, I
Yeah,
tell you when those days come, I'm like, man. And I'm usually I don't open up, but when those days come, I tell you, I'm like,
I
man,
can really tell. Yeah.
I just need the hug. I miss her scent. I miss her hugs. I miss, just walking down the street holding her hand. So,
Mm, yeah, so I think the fact that that's what we were forced to experience, well, I mean, like right from the beginning of this relationship,
hmm.
it yeah really speaks to like who we are as individuals and as a partnership and as a couple, to know that we work really well as a team,
Right.
and we've always got each other's backs, to know that
Hmm.
if we can get through this, like if we can, I don't want to say
For sure.
survive because that sounds so like, oh my God, I gotta survive. But it's like, if you know that you can get through this, then you really can work together to get through anything.
Hmm. I
Yeah.
agree.
So I think that's about it, my love.
Yeah,
That's about everything that we want to talk
I
to
think
in
so.
regards to benefits of being LDR. Like, we know it's not always easy, but as we mentioned in the very beginning, it's all about shifting your mindset and your
Hmm.
perspective to learn how to really view things in a more positive way. And I would recommend even sitting down and writing like what you are grateful for in your
For
relationship.
sure.
Like if you're really, really struggling, write down like what makes you happy, what you're happy for in this relationship. Don't sit there and focus and focus on the negatives and wallow in self-pity and cry about being
Hmm.
sad and upset about being apart. Well, that's okay. Your feelings are valid. It's totally normal to feel like that and
For
experience
sure.
that. And I can definitely empathize with that because I've been there, I've experienced that. But
Right.
it is very important to not stay in that mindset and that headspace for too long, because it's not going to be fun for anybody.
No, for sure. But yeah, you need to just stay positive and focus on things that you can control,
That's it,
right?
yeah.
And keep, like what Lizelle loves to do, just plan
Yeah.
things out, get excited about the plans that you're going to do. And,
Hmm.
even with planning, things are not going to go your way all the time. So you just have to pivot and readjust all the time. And we,
Exactly.
we do it all the time,
We've experienced that,
a lot.
definitely. Yeah. I mean,
And
hello, the pandemic.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we had 2 trips last year that was canceled.
Mm.
So, I mean, we're still here, chilling, kicking
Hmm.
it,
Yeah, exactly.
growing new things, and we're doing new things, and we're experiencing new things. So,
Yeah, and I think it kind of comes down to that saying of like life is like a game. Every level brings a different experience of difficulty, and then you're
hmm.
faced with like a boss at the end of it that you have to defeat and overcome. And then you level up and you become more resilient to things and more experienced in things, and you
Hmm.
know how to get through things a lot better. So it really is just all about having fun and enjoying it for what it is, and at least the two of you know that you're there to have each other's backs and to help each other out when you need it. And yeah, that's all what it's all about.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So, with that being said, if any of you guys want to comment down below and
For
let us
sure.
know like what your thought process is and like what you believe are positives of the
Yeah.
benefits.
Yeah, if you guys have any more benefits that we can learn from, please share
Yeah.
because we would love to know more.
Yeah, if you guys are watching us on YouTube, if you guys are listening
Hmm.
to us on Spotify, Apple, or Google, hello, what's up? Thank you for listening. Please subscribe to the podcast so you guys don't miss any more episodes. And yeah, with that being said, is there anything else you'd like to say, my love?
That's it. I mean, the last thing I could say is, tough times don't last, tough people do.
Wise words from my handsome fiance. So with that being said, thank you for spending part of your day with us here at the One Day Podcast. We shall see you guys, or talk to you guys rather, in our next episode.
And we out.
We did it.